Hello, my dear ones. This is going to be another question and answer video, Q&A video. I apologize on that, but we have so many questions here, and your questions are so good that it really helps me to home in on things we've not touched on before. So I really like your questions, and they're getting really good. And we've got this testimonial, and this lady did a really nice job on this. She has so many things that she got rid of on her program here. But the one that I always find interesting that I talk about, and a lot of people probably don't realize it, is that her cuts don't bleed anymore. You see, and when you get up there in a high alkaline state, a high healthy state, and your lymph is moving well and you're hydrated well, there's no reason to see bleeding when you get cut. Isn't that amazing? Because you think, oh, I cut the capillaries, they're going to bleed. How interesting is it that as soon as you cut yourself, the plate, everything just cuts it right off that fast? It's amazing. I found that out when I was on oranges for so many years, and I was on, I would say at least I could sit down and do 12 to 14, maybe 15 oranges that were grapefruit size. And I could have at least, 12 to 15 at a setting, and I could have 4 settings a day easy. I could probably have 5 settings a day at that time easy. But I'd cut myself because I was peeling them with a knife all the time. I had very little no cookware really, because I didn't cook. So I was cutting them and I always cut myself here and there, and never bled, never bled. I couldn't believe that. And then I remembered Arnold Ehret in his works claiming the same thing. And he offered it up to the AMA as an experiment, the different types of food and the different levels of not only bleeding but of pain. When you're at a high raw level and you're hydrated well, you should be able to take a knife and cut yourself. You won't feel it, it won't bleed, and it'll heal within a day or two. That's the level that we're talking about. That's the level of regeneration that we can get the body into. When you get the body at that level, there is nothing it can't rebuild, re-straighten, everything. It's amazing. It's amazing the level that you can take the human body in a state of wellness. It's amazing. And a lot of you guys are doing this on yourselves. I am so proud of each and every one of you. You're such beautiful people. And I just wanted to comment on that one. She had so many things. She had breast problems. They're all gone. Even her skin marks are disappearing. Beauty marks are slowly disappearing. Warts disappear as they come up. All kinds of neat things that this lady had accomplished on herself. And I'm just real proud of you guys when you take this and you make it work for yourselves. You're just really the incredible beings I knew you were. Yeah, I got these. What book did I get this in? Did I get this in Science News? No, this is Nutrition Action newsletter. Leading causes of death by age groups. And this was back in 2013, so it's much more now. So think about this. Age group, they don't have, what's interesting is they started at 25, which is interesting to me. They need to do one from 0 to 25. What kills most of the babies? Right? So from 25 to 34 years old, the number one leading cause of death is accidents. The age group from 35 to 44 is also accidents that kill most people. That's according to this article. The second leading cause of death in the 25-year-olds to 35-year-olds is suicide. Second leading cause of death. The third leading cause of death within that age group, believe it or not, is homicides. Amazing. But the fourth leading cause of death from the age 25 to 34, outside of accidents, suicides, and homicides, is cancers. Now, from the age 35 to 44, the leading cause of death is accidents, the same thing. The second leading cause of death, however, from the 35 to, say, 45-year-olds is cancer. So cancer is the fourth leading cause of death of the 25 to 34 years old. I think you're going to find it almost at number one in the babies, or things that are very similar. It is the second leading cause of deaths from 35 to 44, and cancer, their name, is the leading cause of death from 45 years old through 84. Always the second heart on down, 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 down. But number one in most age groups is cancer. And the older you are, however, it's not cancer, it is heart. Interesting. Which is basically kidneys failure. So they get listed all here, all kinds of things. Pretty cool thing. Talking about the new study. What is interesting to me is the new study that came out with claims 250,000 deaths with hospital mistakes. However, Consumer Reports 1 year ago had a same article claim 440 deaths and had it right on the front page of theirs. And I trust Consumer Reports. So double these numbers. 500,000 people killed just by errors. And if you're a nurse, you know immediately that you can double that easy because you know what's up in hospitals. I want to thank you for this card. This is a pretty card, Elaine. I really appreciate that. Elaine sent me this news clipping. And it's a news clipping that talks about good news for patients with prostate cancer. Now, this is Florida Cancer Affiliates, is the first certified space OAR treatment center in Florida to offer a new FDA-approved procedure. So what this is, it's a, let's see how they describe it. It's some type of, I'm trying to figure out what it's made of, but it pushes the bowel and rectum out of the way. Of course, you have to have surgery for it. But it pushes the rectal area out of the way so that when they do radiation, it won't destroy the bowels. They didn't mean to say it destroyed the bowels. We didn't want to tell you that, but, oh yeah, it destroys the bowels. But we're going to do it anyway on you. But we've got a new procedure here. We can put something, we can put a wall in between that bowel to block the radiation that's going to destroy the bowel as we destroy the prostate. Yeah, and that's what this is. It's a hydrogel spacer, it's called. The hydrogel spacer is placed during a minimally invasive procedure. Once in place, patients typically can't feel it. The spacer helps protect organs that might otherwise be damaged with the treated radiation therapy. Hello. And it goes in between, like I say, it goes in between the colon and the rectal and that and the prostate. Thanks for that. They, as long as they keep writing the fence of illusion, and they keep playing these games, the stuff they have to do to people is unreal. It's just unreal, the things that are going on out there. When you can save prostates, you can save all this stuff. You don't have to burn and poison and kill and all this stuff like that. You don't have to do that. Thanks, Ellen. Elaine, that was pretty nice. I love that kind of stuff. It's just sad what we've got going on out here. But the beauty of you guys, of introducing this planet to a level that they haven't been privy to because they've been thinking too much here. Academics has basically ruined the day here to where you can almost get to the point you can't explain anything through academics. We're at the point where we have to set some of this aside and start developing the spiritual side. And everybody, even the news media and all the, the different deaths and people killing people in the street and they don't know why and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, excuse me? When everything you turn on is violent, when they don't make Jonathan Livingston Seagull movies anymore. So when you have these sort of things that are always violent and shows the illusionary concepts of that, Everything's violent. All the video games seem to be violent to some extent. They even making animal games violent. It's like, what? But it's just the negative forces infiltrating this level more and more and more. So we have to back that up with positive love, help people to stop judging, and help people to get out of their minds and enjoy the beauty of the planet. Go have some fun with the Mother Earth. So, but a lot of times I guess it has to take itself through some of these darker levels so it can appreciate its higher levels, perhaps. Oh, this is Sam Z. Hey, Sam Z. Hi, the moment I ran into your videos, I was hooked. Thanks, Sam. And ended up in spending 15 hours listening to the doctor. Interesting stuff. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it, man. I was wondering if anything could be done to reverse an aortic root aneurysm. Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah, you know, the aorta, of course, the big boy coming into the heart area there. I was in the emergency room one night, and emergency comes coming in, a lady with an aortic aneurysm. She was out dancing with her husband and pop, you know. Well, they got her in there fast enough, but we couldn't get her to the OR. We had 4 or 5 pints going in her, and we just couldn't save her. And I was holding her hand, talking to her as she passed right with me. And it's like, ooh, ooh. So I made a conscious decision then that I would never let any of my clients ever, you know, I was always going to look for hernias, aneurysms, prolapses, problems with the connective tissue. And that's what? Parathyroid gland. Absolutely. And the acids, of course, is sucking the calcium out even more. So that's part of the problem. You know, so you want to think parathyroid. Whenever you see a herniation or something that's a potential aneurysm, a pop, you want to strengthen connective tissue. Well, the parathyroids are your connecting link to that. And changing the diet to a base-dominant diet. Very important. I'd be working on my kidneys, adrenals, working on my GI tract. I'd be going into my body, fixing it up. But I'd be looking at that parathyroid, and the second question that would follow that one, how's my pituitary, which controls the parathyroid gland? That's the only little bump you have to think about here. How's the pituitary master gland that controls all the other ones? So the best way for that one, of course, is not only the heights, but the eyes, the pictures of the eyes. But you want to take care of this one. An aortic aneurysm is not in the works. So you want to get this before you have a true aneurysm, you know, a real pop to that. And that goes with spider veins, varicose veins, all those sort of things like that. Absolute bruising easy, petechia. No. You don't want to bruise. You don't want your capillaries to break. You want strong capillaries. So, you know, you want to strengthen that body up. Unfortunately, I didn't find any healing references in Dr. Morse's videos. Maybe I need to search and watch more. No, I'll cover it right here, man. I will really appreciate it if I can have an opportunity to speak with the doctor in this regard, or perhaps have a chance to see him regards. Sam, you know, I don't see anybody anymore really per se, but you can see Marcy or Attila. But it's enough to say, and we're looking for another counselor. We need at least 1 or 2 more counselors here. In regard to all this, you're going to want to detox the body. You're obviously changing your ingestion. When you change your diet to a raw food diet, it's like lifting you up to the top of the Empire State Building. Now, the energy coming in, the balanced nutrition, the proper ratioed chemistry is coming in, a base dominant chemistry is coming in, the blood gets better, the lymph hydrates, the kidneys filter better, everything just starts turning on again. Yeah, there are those with advanced weaknesses, top chronic genetic weaknesses in bowels and kidneys, no question, guys. And you guys are working the hardest to overcome these things. But just remember, that was the karma that was handed there. work through it, and when you do, you're done. So it's a big work through, but it'll be worth every time you spend, because you'll be spiritualizing yourself, you'll be awakening doing this, and there is nothing like it on the planet. We're going to take a little boat ride, a little cruise, a little this. I'm talking about having the ability to cruise at will out of your body anywhere you want in the worlds of God. It is unbelievable, very doable, easy to learn, that sort of thing. Getting the energy up is very helpful. Getting the pain out of your bodies. Pain is acidosis, and until you get that lymph filtering these acids out of interstitial areas, you will feel some pain. And I don't know what to say about it. This is 3 pH pain. This is Coca-Cola pain. But, Sam, excellent question. I have touched on aneurysm somewhere in these videos, but they're probably well hid. So definitely good question. Very important. If any of you guys have veins that are swelling, or like varicose and stuff, or you can see your veins, or you bruise easy, if you know you have a herniation or aneurysm, go to the parathyroid. Do at least a 50 milligram parathyroid, at least 1 or 2, 3 times a day, and I would hitchhike that with a bones formula, just to inspire connective tissue regeneration. And by those two, plus the diet, getting away from acid diets, because when you start eating acid-forming diets, you're losing your calcium. Remember, they said milk actually makes you lose calcium instead of gives it to you? Why? Because it's acidic. They've already bonded the minerals together like nobody's business. You know, when you pasteurize or ultra pasteurize, you're pretty much frying everything and bonding the lipids, bonding the minerals to proteins, and pretty soon you've got an unavailable food, a food that is no longer a food that's out of harmony, which we call foreign proteins. Now, in its raw state, as a cow's milk, definitely still out of harmony, foreign protein, wrong type of protein for the Homo sapien. Monkey milk would be better, but excellent question. Aneurysms are no fun. So that's how you'd go. And I would also use probably lower circulation. It's got some real strong high flavonoid herbs in there that are really strong at healing. A diet rich in fruits and berries, high flavonoid diets, strong on the vascular walls, really healthy on the system. So all this is good stuff. But remember that parathyroid and possibly a pituitary connection. That one is a no-brainer. You have to get a picture of your eyes and look in the pituitary area, or a woman can judge her monthly cycles and her height by it, and a male his height by it. And there's other factors you could judge, I'm sure. This is from Brandon. Hey, Brandon. I'm someone that's had the misfortune of meeting a lot of uncaring people in my life. Oh, my God. You talk about the average human? Yeah. You know, sad here that the average human sell their mother for $1. I mean, that's the way it looks around to me, you know. It's like sad stuff. We're losing what counts. You know, the love for all life. Because it comes from the same source. You know, not to love life is not to love God. I mean, that's just the bottom line to that. When you take a look at life on this planet and its many, many multitudes of creatures and aspects, it's boggling. It's overwhelming to think that there is a creative force this powerful and this aware to create. And this is just on one little bitty rock spinning through space in a little bitty galaxy far, far away. And we're one of the littler galaxies far, far away. So it's like, what? It's all pretty big. Pretty big. And so I find it hard to want to help or even talk with people. I know, but you got to look at humans as lost. You know, you realize that almost everything here is lost to itself. It's playing the drama, the dharma, the role. And so, but that's that's how God experiences itself. So when you look at another, see the suffering of that one, or look at them as being locked away or closed away. They didn't realize it. They were a victim of academics, a victim of the mind. Remember, when you take from the tree of knowledge, you're trapped. That is until you learn how to break that control of thought, and then you can use thought to your advantage. But it seems like it takes a long time to come to the awareness that you can break thought. And if you take a look, this planet hasn't broke thought. Everything is just redundant. Same old, same old, same old. It's just like elections. Why you see what's going on with, what's his name, Trump or whatever. It's just that nobody wants another politician. It's the same old crap, the same old lies, the same old stuff, the same old debts. Everything's the same. No one's willing to do anything. So it takes someone outside of all this to come in and say, you know what, we're going to clean house, good, bad, or indifferent, you know. So sometimes it takes God to come over and just clean house. And you see that in what happened to Japan. You know, we're going about the dropping of the bombs in Japan here recently, and, you know, that sort of thing, going back to those times. But when they go back and historically look at those times, Japan was extremely aggressive. Even China was afraid of Japan at the time. They were extremely kamikaze aggressive. It was hard to stop them. And so what this did was turn into a horrific event. But in that horrific event came a beautiful, beautiful Japanese people and the Japanese. And so another level of understanding and peace to all life, because they suffered immensely. But it took that at that time. And it's just, you can't judge these things. It's just, this is God's worlds and what it's doing to mature itself, to expand itself, to let itself grow, to heal itself. It just plays. And what doesn't work shuts down and goes somewhere else. It's like the eternal play of God. You know, there's been a lot of poetic things written about that sort of thing, the dance of life, so to speak. And what is it, really? So I get where you're coming from, but I don't have that with people. It is their state of consciousness that you want to look at, not them, their state of consciousness they've chosen to align with, which puts them either narcissistic or whatever, you know. And there's just so many people, heart is closed. So Brandon, you could turn this around. You be the God man. These people need you. You don't need them. You're awakening. So they need you and don't know it. So turn this around. You be the giver of light and love. You be the giver of health and awareness. And if they don't want it, next. It doesn't matter, because you now have positioned yourself as a God lover, a God expresser. And you don't have to use the name, you don't have to even think the name. All you have to do is just be in the moment, because that's where it all is. And so just by living in that moment, allowing life to unfold in front of you, and by giving your attention and help to others, be the God man. Who cares their state? You don't even want to identify with their state anymore. It doesn't matter. You're stuck. Unstick yourself, or enjoy your stuck, you know, because that's the bottom line. If you don't unstick yourself and you can't get anybody to help unstick you, you're stuck until you decide to let go. And when you let go, you're unstuck. How interesting is that? So it's that sort of thing. I would turn it around, Brandon. You be the God man. You be the powerhouse to this. And whoever is willing to listen, that's who you talk to. Jesus, Buddha, they had people that didn't listen to them either. You have to understand, all the spiritual people have been through the same thing, because the human race is what it is. I'll be honest with you, no offense to anyone out there, I'm amazed God didn't terminate the Homo sapiens. I mean, you'll see when you get out of body traveling and everything, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is a very interesting race. I don't know, there's so many great souls out there, but the human consciousness, not talking about the souls, talking about the human state of consciousness. Whew, it's a tough one. When the Dalai Lama makes a comment on that, that's pretty interesting. You make me want to open up more. Anyway, well, I hope so, because, you know, you're the one that it matters. It doesn't matter if your buddies, friends, or whoever you are there to help wants it or not, because what's important is you, Brandon. And your sucre, you make it. And when you make it, you no longer want anything. You don't need anything. You have everything you could ever want. And sometimes your desires chain you and bond you to the desire you have. Remember Kung Fu years? Those that are older, remember the Kung Fu? And old Grasshopper asked his old master, and the master was talking to Cain about the desireless state, having no desires. And the young Chela, Cain, looked up at the master and said, Master, you are desireless, you have no desires? And the master looked down and he said, I have one. And Cain looked back at him and said, well, that's not so bad, you only have one desire? And the master looked at him and says, a desire nevertheless. And he desired to be in the marketplace at this time where the king's nephew or whatever killed him. But he was to be there to set this young Cain on a road of adventure. I mean, it just is how life is done. But I thought it was interesting. It's like the time that the master was asking Cain to listen. And Cain said, well, I can't hear anything. And the master said, you can't hear the grasshopper down at your feet? He looked down and he goes, how could you hear that grasshopper down there at my feet? And the master looked at him and said, how was it you didn't? So these are all cool things, and just spirituality is so uplifting and sweet and beautiful. Pulls you out of the morass of negativity and things like this. Brings the love, opens the heart, brings the tenderness and compassion. Because there's nothing like tenderness and compassion of all life. Whether you hug a woman, whether you hug a man, whether you hug a plant, whether you hug a dog, a horse, or a cow. Who cares? Or a dragon. Who cares? You know, the love of all life for itself. Cool stuff. Since a young age, I've had bad breath. All right? I want to stop right there for a minute. There's a lot of people. I had someone in the other day. Horrendous breath. Horrendous breath. When you can smell your breath, you have putrefaction. You've got to clean your GI tract up. Big time. It's not good to have putrefactive breath. Not only is it extremely offensive, but it shows that you have dying matter in your gut. Get it out. So you either get on the stomach and bowel, GI broom, however you go into that, you go in and start cleaning that bowel up. Get that plaque, nasty plaque off the wall. Get this putrid matter out of you. And if you stink under the arms, you're eating dead animals or their milks. Get rid of all that, clean your lymph nodes out, and you will smell as sweet as the fruit you eat. You know, it was once said by a friend of mine's lover that, wow, you taste just like the food you're eating. So it's amazing what we thought we knew about health and what you guys are showing the world about it. You realize what you guys are showing the world? This lady that wrote in, I cut myself and don't bleed, have them explain that to you. I want them to explain that to you through chemistry. Yeah. And until they do, I wouldn't put a lot of effort in that focus, in their focus of thought. That if you can't explain things, so that's important. Really want to clean up that gut. Anybody that's got bad breath, get rid of it. That's not a good thing. Putrefaction, highly acid, proteins in the bowels, and nothing good comes with proteins in the body except cancers. It's just the way it is. Oh, I should get those cells on Marcy's desk and show them to you. Anyway, white tongue. Okay, so at least it's white. All right, because with a bad breath like that, that tongue can turn green and brown. So white, okay, but that's all. Anybody uses a tongue ring and all that, a tongue scraper and all that? This is all. When you go a day or two without eating, you know, you're on a water fast, take a look at your tongue. How deep it coats is how deep your lymph system is messed up. When you have a nice pink tongue again, that means you've done pretty good. You know, in the hygienic fasting clinics, that's what we used to do, is fast you until your tongue turned pink again, however long that took. because it will always turn. As you go on a fast, your body will start pulling the stuff to the surface. And it'll stay on the tongue. So, we had to get poor skin, and in the last few years, I'm experiencing constant dizziness and an inability to think clearly. Now, Brandon, you want to stop this now, my friend, because this is not good. I don't know how old you are, but this is, now we're stepping across the line into something that could be very bad. All right, so we're talking about cerebellum, right? Cerebellum. Mastoid cerebellum, that's your dizzy equilibrium vertigo center. That means that when you're experiencing that, we'll use their word inflammation, our word acidosis, and the system involved is backed up here. Don't be surprised you don't have stiff, tight shoulders and necks with that. That you want to open this up, neural lymphatics, open this up, cold compresses to the head, but go after those kidneys, Brandon. That's where your problem is. Kidneys and adrenals. Go after that. Go after your bowel. Get that stench out of there and get this dizziness out of the head. I would personally do an upper circumbrain and nerve for 2 or 3 months for sure. You want to make sure you don't fall down up here. That's, yeah, then you need another lifetime or something. You know, not fun when you lose it up here. So, and that's, I've said we're entering a whole new world of 40 to 50-year-old dementias. And it's just not good. Scary, scary, scary. Look at all the balding in the ages of 20 years old. One kid wrote me his balding at 7 years old. It's like, what? So, you know, we are in trouble as a race, and you guys are the saviors. I'm just telling you. Vital. So you want to fix this. That's your lymph system. That's inflammation. That's acidosis up in the head area. And, of course, it's going to affect your memory. That's all not good. And, of course, here's the eyeball, so there goes your vision. You see what I'm saying? And then you get too backed up. You can't smell. Olfactories are down, and you just keep going. Not good, man. Not good, Brandon. You want to get that out. Dig it. Oh, I'm in the UK, and fresh fruit, awesome as cash, is a problem for me. I'm in the UK, and fresh fruit as well as cash is a problem for me. Could you please send advice my way? You got to find a way to get on a fruit diet at the very least. If you can find some herb somewhere around there for the kidneys and adrenal glands, use that. There's always GI tract herbs around. Work on that. Just get even the Fab 4 or 5, whatever you can. If you can't get anything, write in here, and maybe the girls can find on the back shelf something to send you to help you get through this, Brandon. But you want to change your diet now. And I know you're in the UK, and fresh fruit is a bit of a problem. But you're in trouble. Go down to Spain or something. They got good fruit. You know, go somewhere where they got really good fruit. Take a little vacation if you can. You know, I don't know. Find someone a house they'll stay in or something. But, Brandon, you got to fix yourself up, my friend. Fix yourself up. We're working on, and this is out of the love of some, I won't mention any names, but this is a pretty powerful movie director, producer, in other words. But I'll just keep it in the context that there might be help coming for those that have no money. There could be some good help coming. So keep your fingers crossed that some big things are coming, hopefully. The way it's looking, and I mean really big things. Oh, that'd be good. Because it's sad to see somebody in trouble and no help. You know, especially just even to get the food. So we're working on changing a lot of that. It's just sad stuff out there. Man wants to help, but he's helping in the wrong ways. A family friend has a daughter who has been in a wheelchair since she was old enough to walk. That's sad. You got to realize all karma, guys. You have to realize that. Sometimes I have to tell myself, karma, remember karma. She's now 25 years old and still in the chair. She has spinal muscular atrophy, SMA, which doctors classify as a genetic disease. Well, I know what that is. But listen, I'll tell you where else this is hooked at. And I've had, believe this or not, I have a case. We have a lot of cases like this, but I just got off the phone with one. And I've had her for a number of years. And it's, she's got, and particularly at L4 and L5. And if you pull the eyes of this patient here, this person here, notice that you'll see that lesion, or you'll see that weakness in the lower back there. It could be in the mid to upper too, but you'll see that, and it'll hook right into this colon. So when you're going after regeneration of anything in the body, please go after kidneys and the colon. Number uno's, kidneys and colons and skin, the eliminative organs. Go after those guys. Clean them up with the herbs and the diets. All right? Now, spinal muscular atrophy. What side of chemistry do you find atrophy on? Atrophy is the decay of tissue. So what side of the fence on chemistry do you find that on? Acids. You don't find it on the base side, you find it on the acidic side. Well, where does that pull us? Right into the lymph system, and the fact that the lymph system goes right down the spine. So we always have trouble with the spine. Here's the other problem. All the organs and glands come out of the spine. All the blood, nerve, and lymph comes out of the spine. So when you have a kidney problem, pretty soon you'll start noticing, oh, my lower back, L4 and L5 specifically, having trouble with that? Oh, yeah. To fix that, you have to fix the kidneys first. See, so you have to fix these other tissues first, or during this process. I won't say first, during this process, you want to fix these other tissues, because you have to remove the acid that's creating the atrophy. You can't remove the acid that's creating the atrophy. You can't remove the atrophy. See what I mean? Your body can remove damaged tissue and rebuild. That's not a big deal, if you can remove what's breaking it down. Make sense? Total sense. Well, there's only two sides of chemistry. How long is that going to take you to go to school and learn that one? So there's only two sides of chemistry. We already know in chemistry, we can verify that, is that the acid is the corrosive side. All you got to do is put some acids in your mouth and hold it there. I recommend nothing hotter than a Coke myself, but if you want to try some hydrochloric acid in your mouth, you're probably going to need a dentist and some other things going on. You're probably going to have to get a lot of burn salve going on in your mouth, and you're not going to be happy for a long time. And yet that's what's going on in these people's tissues. This is a 3 pH burn that's going on here that's creating the atrophy. Whether it's skeletal muscle, it doesn't matter what tissues are involved. Doesn't really matter. Location doesn't matter either, because it's all hooked to the same system that's creating the condition that's setting her up for this. You cannot have atrophy of tissue without stagnation of acids. And you cannot have stagnation of acids if you're filtering them out of the body in a timely manner. So what that is telling you is that your eliminative organs are not eliminating metabolitic waste as it should. So this metabolitic waste are creating stagnation, which is creating a cationic environment, which a cationic environment is an environment of coagulation, agglomulation. And of course, that all gives you corrosiveness, the tearing, the breakdown, the inflammatory response, and either the loss of calcium out of that structure skeletally, or the plaquing of lipids in that area. Every single time. So, to go after this young lady and get her out of this friggin' chair, is you've got to go right into her as you're detoxing her from full bore. Kidneys, adrenals, you're going right after that body, because you have to realize, to have spinal atrophy of any type, muscle, spine, I don't care where it is, you have to have acidosis present. That's stagnation. Well, to have stagnation of acids means you have stagnation of the system that deals with removing the acids out of the body. Right? That's easy. That's the lymphatic system. They're getting there, but they're limping along. And how many more people die at the hands of unawareness? But it's all karma.
No, no, no!
They're calling it a genetic disease affecting the part of the nervous system. Here we go again, a genetic disease. One thing is for sure, probably is genetic weakness. Probably is. And that's where you find the biggest decay, because remember, we've talked about this a great deal. Even Dr. Jensen mentioned that when there is a genetic weakness in tissue, there is a compromised blood and lymph flow. I've looked at this for years, and I can't speak to the compromised blood flow, but I definitely can speak to the compromised lymph flow, and this is where you see most of the decay and atrophy taking place, as at these places of genetic weaknesses. Not a disease. Diseases this is acidosis, purely and simple, that controls voluntary muscle movement. This is all the autonomic system and all this. Remember, the autonomic system, the muscle that controls the muscles and all this, the autonomic, where's it hooked into? Cerebellum and adrenal glands. And your neurotransmitters comes out of the adrenal glands. So you want to go, wait a minute, the adrenal glands are the main part of what system? The lymphatic system. Sits right on top of the main eliminative organs of that system, the kidneys, right? Don't forget the skin, but that's why. The loss involves a loss of nerve cells. What could break down nerve cells? Can anybody guess? There's only two sides of chemistry. And another question I have for them is fluids genetic? All right, you have two major fluids in the human body, blood and lymph, outside of water, right? Blood and lymph. Are these two fluids genetic? Or is what is genetic is the cell? Of course, it's a cell. All your cells came out of what? One cell. I mean, it's also cool. So, to fix her, or him, you've got to, and get her out of this damn chair. She's been in there way too long, way too young. You can regenerate this case. Where else would you want to think in regeneration of spine and nerve? On nerve, you're talking about fruits and berries and melons only. If you want to regenerate neurological, I'm sorry. I'm strict with that. What else? Adrenal glands. We need neurotransmitters. We need steroids. So we need those adrenal glands up and running. But what else might we think about? Parathyroid again. Absolutely. This is the spine. We want to rebuild and put calcium back. It could be muscles. It could be whatever. A skeletal system. The muscles, the neurons. It don't matter. Everything is cells except the two fluids that service the cells. You fix the two fluids and the cells will fix themselves. Guaranteed. With a little help from our friends, the herbs. Currently, she has no movement in her legs and very minimal in her arms. Is there any hope for her to regain full movement and walk normally again? 100%. 100%. But, now, you want to use some cold packs on this area, things like that. If she's in pain with this atrophy or decay, you want to use some cold packs on that. Again, hit that body with juices. This is a case where at a point, you're going after the nervous system as well, but there's a point where when you get past a certain point, put some green drinks down. 2 8-ounce glasses of parsley, dandelion, beet. I don't care what else you add into that. Then there's a point after that, you want to get her on the ultimate immune. And the reason for the ultimate immune is two things, ginseng and velvet antler. When you're getting into these, and this is the reason antler comes in very good here, when you get someone stuck in a chair, get to the tonics. Get them cleaned out, get them filtering, get everything going as you know to be true. But think about tonics. Tonics are herbs that build strength, power. Look at the 256-year-old Chinese guy, died in 1933 of 256 years old. He took ginseng tea 4 to 5 times a day, his claim was. Well, ginseng is a major tonic. So there's a point where I like to, especially with quads and pairs, move to the tonics to start strengthening, right? But you've got to fix some things. Why she's not getting out, why the spinal deterioration, or muscle or nerve, whatever. Why the deterioration? We know why. She was born with weak kidneys and ribs. She's born with a lymph system. Matter of fact, you ought to get a picture of her eyes and see what you're up against lymphatically. Because, I can sit here and say, well, that's easy to rebuild it all, but you've got to look at the lymphatic system. I thought I could get this one girl, she's 27 probably by now, or 8, with seizures since she was 4 months old, right after a vaccination. How are you going to dispel that? And if it wasn't for her lymph system being so bad, I could have pulled her out of this a long time ago. But her lymph system looks like a dairy farmer. It is so bad, it takes a while to get that dealt with so you can stop the seizures. Because that's the system that has to get rid of any thimerosal or anything like any exacerbator or neurotoxin. Generally doesn't go back out the blood, goes out the lymph system. But if you have a stagnant lymph system and it's so bad you can't get it moving, how do you remove these toxic metals and stuff? Not everything has to go through the blood, nor can, or should, because that compromises your quality of life big time. The blood is something you never mess with.
For the last time, no.
All right. Now, doctors have told her there's no hope. You know why? Because wrong doctors. And the problem is they're using doctors in front of their names, and they don't know how to help somebody like this. They can't even tell you. They're saying it's some genetic disease. Well, it's true in the sense that genetics is probably involved, but genetics is a weak cell, not disease. But what causes weaknesses of cells? What side of chemistry breaks down and weakens cells? It isn't base, so what does that leave? Only one other side. Huh. That's tough. Okay. So and they're telling her she'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. And I love it when people give that kind of message out there. No wonder this world is stagnant. Because there's no hope. So you know what that means? That means you guys have a more important role than ever before, doesn't it? To inform these sleeping people that we can get these young people out of chairs. We can get older people out of chairs. We can rebuild anything. Look at the man that fell out of, I call him, that fell out of the sky. His parachute didn't open. If anybody can rebuild themselves from broken backs and bones all over the place, okay? So the same thing. You go after it the same way, whether it's trauma or atrophy from acid just sitting there chewing on you. But you're talking to doctors that they still play in the world of diseases. I know there must be a way. There is a way, and I would love for her and her mother to hear some good news, because doctors have a habit of making you depressed. You know why? Because they don't know. You're going to medical doctors. They only treat diseases with pharmaceuticals. Well, if you wake up and you realize diseases is an illusionary concept created by them, you realize that whole house is a closed house of insanity. And then at best, we're lucky to get stabilization and some good help at ERs, and perhaps there's some mighty fine surgeons out there. But outside of that, this is a nightmare at all levels, and it's just got to stop. And you guys are part of this, bringing awareness and truth to a very dark planet. You know, there's a darkness here on this planet of unconsciousness, and you guys are the light bearers. And I can see you looking through the camera. So yeah, please let her read this in all ways, because I don't stop. You're going to get out of that chair, you get out of the chair. You know, and you have to put yourself toward that. There is regeneration. We prove this and prove this and prove this. Oh, one of the things she was saying is in this... people are telling her she looks 10 years younger. She can deal with higher levels of stress. She can see better. All her scars are disappearing. Her body hair is turning blonde and disappearing. And on and on and on. Teeth are rebuilding. I mean, that's the level you got to get to. And this lady did a good job. How old is she? Oh, wow, she's 33 years old. She did a good job at 33 years old, but if you're 70 years old, you can do this good job too. You don't have to be young to have this good success like this. And you keep going. I just have never seen the top of this, to how far you can go out there on the world of health. I don't know that. But let's get this young girl, let's get this young girl out of the chair, okay? Because she's been in there long enough, all right? This is Elle. The copper IUD can cause copper, yeah. The trouble with copper toxicity, of course, is the kidneys. The copper IUD can cause copper toxicity. If anyone has it in, urge them to take it out. Depletes zinc and iron, affects thyroid and adrenals negatively, hair loss, anxiety, PMS, and more. Causes estrogen dominance and midsection fat, which won't go with exercise or restriction. Many cases of this found when researching, and it needs to get out there. I just experienced it all and am now recovering from it. Isn't this sad? I know it. This is why I know I keep talking about it, but I need some guinea pigs. Any ladies out there that don't mind getting pregnant? I'm working on an herbal formula for birth control, and I have to try it on somebody sometime. But it's enough to say, if we can get a great herbal formula that will help not conceiving, that'll act as a natural birth control, I can't tell you. This planet will have the best thing ever made to help its population and to help everyone and to help the poor ladies that are stuck with this kind of crap, or the estrogen tablets and things like that aborts them and things like this. This is, it's just the way it is. And I'm glad you brought that up, dear one. Sad stuff. Sad stuff. I know someone with one in, too. And I'll tell them. But no one listens to you half the time, though. I know a lady that has one in, she has pain with it, and she's just living with it. It's like, what? So I don't know what to say about all that, This is from Josh. Hey, Josh. Hi, Dr. Morse. I tore the labrum in my hip and had surgery, hip arthroscopy. At least they did it arthroscopically. About a month ago. I would like to detox via water fasting, juice fasting, and possibly a fruit and herb diet. My question is, should I wait until I completely recover from surgery, 3 to 6 months, before detoxing, or can I start now? What will speed up the healing process? Thank you for offering your knowledge. It's truly a blessing. Well, love you too. Thanks a lot, Josh. You know what? Go full bore right now. Go 100% raw right now, and guess what's going to heal super fast? Oh yeah, you want to do 100% raw. If you'd known, you went raw, all raw before the surgery, stayed raw, and raw afterwards. Super heal yourself. That's what you want to do since you've had this surgery. Even though arthroscopically, I would definitely go 100% raw. Dig into my body, go on the kits, get your kidneys filtering, your adrenals up, your bowels cleaned out, get everything turned on, because you might already had a little weakness there to begin with, genetics, so you want to fix that up a little bit. And where else might we want to direct Josh? Parathyroid again. You might want to go on 1 bottle of parathyroid gland, hitchhike it with the bones formula. So that would be 1 or 2 parathyroid 3 times a day, and 2 or 3 capsules of the bones 3 times a day. Especially while you're healing here, especially for the first month. Wham, 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 to super heal you. That's what you want to do. Get that inflammation out, get all that out. I'd start right now. This is the time when you really want to do this, Josh. And that'll really heal you good. Save you from any scar tissue or anything that might develop in there. This is Sam. Hey, Sam again. I got a lot of Sams out there. Hope my message finds you well. It does, Sam. I like the word Sam. I like, who's that movie star? Sam Elliott. I've always liked Sam Elliott. I just watched your YouTube video regarding eating fruit. I am 38 years old and not sure if I have diabetes type 1, 2, or 1.5. Really. Blood sugar problems. You got to fix the body anyway. One's the adrenals, one's the beta cells. Well, but it can be neurological too. Don't let it be confusing, but the nervous system in the body controls literally everything. It turns the lights on or off. So the nervous system is everything. And sometimes for the years I kind of put that on the back burner, you know. So now you see me use brain and nerve a lot more in my protocols, because I need the nervous system to be turning on those cells. And in the case of type 1s, there's already demonstrated some neurological type 1s. So working on the beta cells will have no effect. Working on the nervous system, however, does. But no matter what, you have to have carbohydrates, whether you have blood sugar problems or not. It's the adrenal glands 99% of the time, and so you just work on them. You work on them with either a glandular or herbs for the adrenals. You get the kidneys cleaned up, and again, you have to always go back, no matter how small a symptom is or how large, go back to two things. First of all, what side of chemistry is my discomfort or my problem on? There's only two. And what system would that mean I'd be having trouble with? Because the body's divided up into systems. So if your digestive system was causing the problem, then your lymph system wouldn't be causing the problem. But how would your digestive system be causing that kind of problem when the problem is interstitial? See what I'm saying? It all is there. It leads you right there where the problem is. It leads you right to the system every time. It's factual. It's just the way it is. And you guys are teaching nothing but truth and facts. Plain and simple. Whether they get it or not. When they get it, they'll be as good a healers as you guys are getting to be. But no matter what, you have to have fruit or vegetable sugar. Glucose, to me, is an inferior sugar. Obviously, in a type 1, you don't need to have insulin for fructose. We've demonstrated that. Or if you do, it's minor. I understand I need to become a member to download the PDFs. Yeah, it's $10, but we give you back $10, so it's basically free. But I was hoping you could advise me which of them would be most suitable. I would like more information on the diet as far as fruit and veggies, low proteins, low fat, and no starch. Cheers, Sam. Well, you know, joining the club is a good thing to do, you guys, because we can talk better with you and more directly with you. But with that said, you're 38, you don't know whether you have a blood sugar problem or not. You know what? Then just take off and work on your body generally. Do basic Fab 4 or 5, where you definitely want to hit the kidneys, you definitely want to hit the adrenals, you definitely want to hit the GI tract, you definitely want to hit the endocrine glands, which is the adrenals are part of, but I would hit the whole thing too. I'd hit the adrenals and endos separately. And if you wanted to hit, you know, the nervous system or something else, you could. Parasites or whatever. I like the first kit. If you can save enough money to get the first kit, that's a dewormer. It gets into the liver. It gets into all. It's a perfect starter kit. And from there, then you can see kind of what you need to do, but keeping in mind our conversations on the YouTube here and where the systems are in trouble at, what side of chemistry and all that, and that'll lead you down that road. We got books available and all this sort of thing, but I'm a fruit, berry, and melon man, Sam. You know that. Fruit, berry, and melon on detoxification. Now, when you're outside of regenerative detoxification and you're just living your life, you're not really paying attention to that, then of course the salad or veggies can be added to the regimen, but you'll find that the more you add in vegetables, the more fatigued you'll feel, because fruits give you so much more energy that when you get used to that level and you step down, you'll feel it. Because it's all energy anyway. So, first of all, of course, I'm a no-protein diet. Lipids as they come present in the foods. And starch, of course, that's just complex carbohydrates. Hey, Josh. All right, this is from Josh. It says, Dr. Morse, in some of your recent videos, you talked about how the body is not designed to consume vegetables. What is your opinion on juicing vegetables to get the vitamins and minerals they have to offer? Now we're talking. Yeah, you know, if you're going to use vegetables, juice them. Except for what I call the veggie fruits, which is your cucumbers, your avocados. You know, those are real easy to digest. Those are pretty good. You can tell the difference. But if you're going to use the greens and get down into that high fiber stuff where you're now looking at a whole differently designed species that consumes that type of food and majorly different than we are, and then you can start to understand why when you realize how complex the structures are in a vegetable over a fruit. But then how more complex a structure is in a herbivore over a frugivore. So I would look at that, and yes, absolutely do your green drinks and stuff if you want. For your bodybuilders, pumping the alfalfa juices and stuff, especially if you're a fighter and you're going for a fight, you don't want to eat a salad. If you want to, before a fight, you want to pop a superfood or a green drink, watch out, baby. Or more power yet, get a fruit. The energy's phenomenal. Just take a big handful of grapes and go. But, yeah. Let me see here. Is it just as bad as eating them or better? No, much better. Fiber is the big issue, although the chemistry is more dense, no question, but that's okay, especially in a highly depleted case that was malabsorbed for years, and not to get them fixed, you got them down to 80 pounds, yeah, build them up with some green drinks for sure. And fruit, you know, the whole thing. Or are fruits better altogether? Thank you for all that you do. I hope to acquire the medical knowledge that you know one day. Well, I don't know a lot of medical knowledge, to tell you the truth. This is Diana. Hi, Diana. Before my question, I must thank you for you are doing to benefit mankind. I will say we, honey. We're working together, so we're all doing it. Not just me, we're all doing it, and I love to have you aboard. Thank you, sweetheart. I have watched every one of your videos and have learned so much. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. And applied them to my life. Oh, wow. Been all raw fruit, mainly juicing for 1 year. Oh, my God. This is a good lady right here, guys. Look at this. Been on 2 14-week protocols and had you do my iris analysis. Interesting what your eyes look like. My question is, when one person gets the measles, mumps, or chickenpox, guess which system's down in that one, guys? Guess which one? All the humps and dumps, right? Absolutely. Always the lymph system, guys, and mono and everything else is all the lymphatic systems. How is it that others around them also get the effects as well because of their lymph systems? If your lymph system's clean, you don't. See, that was the whole thing in the, of course, the slickness of the AMA and how they're easy to slide in the vaccines made all the differences. It didn't. You know, back in the areas of the plague and things, remember that towns built their towns on creeks because then you could get rid of the sewage from the houses or the town through the creeks. But the kids always played in the creeks, so it made for very serious problems. And of course, the diets were full of milk and meats and stuff like this. And so people's lymph systems were a mess, and so the plagues came right easy to understand why. How they cleaned this up, if you go back and look historically, wasn't vaccines. They cleaned up the towns, they cleaned up these waterways, they put in sewer systems. They did a lot of things to clean this up. It wasn't just vaccines. The medical doctor would like you to believe that, so they could keep making the money and pumping these toxic crap, but it was not at all. Matter of fact, remember when they vaccinated for polio? Polio went up 600, what was it, 85%? Wallach or whatever his name was it. Yeah, where's his book, Emerging Virus? If you ever get a chance to get his book called The Emerging Virus, I love that book. It's a little scary about the HIV and Ebola virus and where it came from, but you get the picture as you begin to connect the dots more. I do not know how to explain this when asked this question. Oh, well, this is all about the lymphatic systems. You know, it's the same thing as cold and flu-like symptoms, to be honest with you. You can walk into a place and everybody's sniffling like crazy. Everybody's got cold and flu-like symptoms. Not a problem one. You go in not as a health person like this with on standard diets, your lymph systems are generally messed, bam, you get it too. It's all about culturing mediums. It doesn't matter whether it's a viral or a bacterial that's stimulating this. Does not matter one little bit. It's the action that takes place that one needs to observe. So when you're in a cold and flu and all this, what are some of the symptoms and the actions you see taking place? You see discharge of mucus, you see fevers, you see sweating. Now, relate that to detoxification. What do you see? The same thing. So your body's always trying to clean itself out when it comes in contact with something, a protein it doesn't like. It can be a tripping mechanism. Cold air. In Indiana they used to say, don't go out in the cold, you'll catch a cold. Why? Bacteria doesn't function in the zero weathers. Well, how can I catch something out here if everything is inactive right now? You see what I'm saying? So it's just been these old wise things that people haven't understood the connection. Well, the connection's obvious. That's the sewer system. You clean up your sewer system and you walk around all the chicken pox, mumps, measles you want to. I'll give you $100. Clean up your lymph system, get every kidney's filtering, get all cleaned up, and you go find a bunch of people with mumps and measles and stuff, and I'll show you the difference. Show you the difference. And you see it today anyway. Notice how some people catch things and others don't? Around the same people? Well, if you guys haven't seen it, and I know a lot of you have already seen this because I've heard you tell me this, that you never seen, the whole house was sick and you never got a thing. Never caught a thing. You can't. When the cleaner you get, there's nothing to catch. Your system's clean, cleans any proteins out as you come in. So the whole key is a clean body, isn't it? Yeah, when your sewer system's backed up in your body, you can plan to not catch anything out there in terms of what nature uses to trip the body into these things. Remember, nature has its army of things, from the microbes to the viruses to all these things. And each are designed to help the species to have a cleansing process or this process, that sort of thing. There's a lot going on here. This isn't just about nutrition and energy. The other side of this is sewage and sewage removal. Remember, if you're the creator, you not only have to think about the energetic side, the fuel side, you have to think about the exhaust side, the elimination side. You have to take care of both sides of this problem, not just the one. So that's where the medical community has been highly deficient. They haven't thought about the elimination process. Well, now, since no one has thought about the proper elimination and the type of foods man's been eating, highly mucus-forming, highly acidic, highly destructive to colon and kidneys, now that we've literally broke down the eliminative organs, we don't eliminate well. Well, now we get to see what happens when you don't filter or eliminate your waste. And that's called diseases by the medical community. But there's no such thing. Everything is cause and effect, chemically and physics. Everything electrically and chemically is cause and effect. Pure and simple. Easy for anyone to understand. And understanding that puts the power back in your hands. Gives you back the awareness and things you need to take care of yourself instead of in some quack's hands that can't do anything with it because they don't even understand the cause of anything. The worst thing you can do is have some medical doctor give you some pharmaceuticals to treat something they don't know what causes it, and neither do you. That a lot of times have terminated a lot of people. Just flatly terminated them. And it's like, what? So it's insane. And you're part of the sanity that this planet's getting. So remember that when you talk to others, who you are. You represent the Creator. And you want to look the part, feel the part, act the part. Because you're the Blessed One. And you are now giving your blessings to the others. No matter whether they like it or not. If they don't like it, okay, no big deal. I'm going to give my love out to the world whether it wants it or not. And I'm not going to be affected by that. And you need to do the same thing. Those that want it will take it and embellish it and love it and take it and grow with it. Others won't. And the same thing with you and everything else. So you never want to bring yourself down because of others. That's not in the scheme of things. But that's how you explain it. You have to explain. Unfortunately, you have to go a little bit into the lymphatic systems and the differences between those. And when you start to see the differences, and you'll see that you can prove it to yourself. And that's what I like about this. And that's how you can prove its truth, because you can prove it on yourself. You can clean yourself up, and you can go in any place you want. Any place you want. See, in the fallacy of the hospitals is that people are catching all these problems in hospitals. So now they're trying to... The hospitals are some of the cleanest places on the planet. With a mercury spell, you're getting isolated. This is considered extreme toxin, and so they quarantine the areas off. And I still remember playing with mercury in my fingers like this as a kid, you know. So you just have to explain the lymphatic systems to your friends and people that want to know why people catch things. Healthy people don't. And I'll show you. Clean yourself up and enjoy that, and I'll show you that. All right, this one's from Mike. Hi, Mike. I recently started watching your videos on YouTube. I thank you for your videos and for the love I feel from you. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that, man. You know what? I mean, we're all here under one roof, basically, the roof of God, so we ought to love everything. Some things you not going to love. I'll put it this way in a more spiritual vein. You don't have to like everything, but you should love everything. You know the difference? The love is a divine love. Divine love is a love for all life because you see yourself and everything else as part of the one. That breeds a love that's undefinable. Personal love, though, is more emotional love. That's a little on a far, far different level. You know, it's a very limited, lose your power type of love, and it breeds attachment. That's one of our biggest problems in getting out of here is our attachment to the things we like and we created, not realizing that everything here is here today and gone tomorrow. Even our lovers, our mates, our family members. We come here alone. We come here and took on a body, entered a family unit. That's how we got our body. We get trained and brought up into these units, are conditioned in our mind to think like mommy and daddy think. So I see how I'm watching them, how they think and respond, and that's how I think and respond. My school's teaching me, whatever church setting, whatever I'm taught religiously or whatever, that's how and that's how I'm raised in that. But you're being brought into creation and brought up to speed. You're getting lost in creation now because as you start observing and your attention is totally focused and developed, you lose who you are. You lose who came into this world. Who's the looker? You lose that. Well, how you find that is to stop looking on the outside again. Stop caring so much. Let go for a while. Even if it's a half hour every day or 2 half hours every day in contemplation, if that's all you do to let go sometimes. Develop your ability to let go of thought and thinking and desires, even just for a little time now and then. Have fun just hanging and watching the world go. It'll bring you into joy. I am very blessed to have found you through what? Oh, thanks, man. Oh, Dan the Man's videos. Yeah, I haven't seen his videos for a while, but I'm sure Danny's taken off. Because what you teach about fruits, berries, and melons and herbs completely makes sense to me. And it did to me, too, Mike. I tell you, when I got into this, there was only a few books on fruitarianism, and I really had to dig to find them. The natural hygienic people, of course, is where I got most of my information initially. Right? That's a whole line of people from Tilden to Sheldon to Fry, all these people. And these were great people. Great, great people. Bragg could be considered probably a natural hygienist to some extent. Jensen wasn't a vitalist in terms of all raw. Matter of fact, I remember going to a natural hygiene meeting when I first moved to Port Charlotte. And everyone there was at least 80 or above. There was no new young people there, so they hadn't done anything to promote that in their town. They just had their meetings. And so I think I brought a great big bowl of fruit. And I come to their big dinner, and I'd say there was maybe 20 people there, all above 80. Most of them in 90s. All were saying, these are my original teeth. And just showing me, and things, but everyone brought something cooked. And I said, you forgot, didn't you? You forgot. Yep. they forgot. And so when I brought the big bowl of fruit, they remembered. And that's what you're doing. You're bringing the big bowl of fruit to this planet so they can remember. Yeah, it just means truth to me, and does me too. And thank you too, Mike. Really think that. I have had broken capillaries, blood vessels on my nose for a long time. They look like small blood stains. Okay, so what's the first thought? Parathyroid. Parathyroid, upper circulation. I would do upper and lower circulation, Mike, and I would hit the parathyroid gland with the Bones formula. Start strengthening up connective tissue. At the same time, get that lymph moving, so there's no acid influence on these capillaries and things. So even interstitially. So I would get honking that way. And I was wondering if you could tell me what I can do to heal them. Absolutely. And I definitely want to dig into that little thin one layer of connective tissue cells. You want to get into that parathyroid gland. I would definitely, again, like I said, upper circ and lower circ, but I would also want to get my lymph, my kidneys, my everything filtered. You know, that side of it that we talk so much about. You want to do that, because it's all part and parcel to why the parathyroid would not be allowing you to keep strong connective tissue there. Now, you could have a locally genetically weak area, but you can strengthen that up. You could have a pituitary connection to the parathyroid weakness. You could. So it's just looking a little like that, not getting confused, but just sitting there looking. The best picture for each and every one of you, your best picture of the internal workings of the human body is the iris. It's a truth just like it is. It's only showing you what it sees. It can't show you what's not there, but it can show you what's there. Nothing like soft tissue analysis like that in medical world. No, you got to have a density to what you want to look at. Here, this is soft tissue, so we can see the lymph system. We can see why you're in pain. We can see why there's atrophy at these different levels. I just became a member, and I recently purchased liver, gallbladder, blood tonic, lymph, skin, and kidney tonic. I am 41-year-old male, good man. I eat mainly fruits, berries, and melons and greens, good man. 100% raw diet, good man. And think about that parathyroid. I probably start out with the 50 milligram one 3 times a day. Hitchhike it to the Bones formula 2 or 3 times a day. Use up a bottle of each one and see where you go from that. At the same time, think about the circulation formulas. Think about just getting your body turned to a base balance, a more alkaline balance, which is just eating what you're eating is doing that. And just let that heal itself up and strengthen itself up, and you'll be fine with that. And this is Faith. Faith Heal. No, Faith White. Urgent. My sister's husband has been in the hospital for about a week with stomach problems. Boy, that's all over the place. They are trying to decide if they should take his gallbladder out. It sounds to me like they really don't know the problem. Thank you. Any suggestions I can pass along to them would be appreciated. We get enough help here. We're having a hard time finding enough help. And we got a holistic school right down the road, but if we get enough help here, I want to have a couple hotlines. So when you guys have an emergency like this, you can turn to that hotline. Or a 900 number, which is minimal stuff. Anything so you can get some quicker advice. Well, I don't know either. You have to see his eyes to really look at the gallbladder and the stomach area to see what's going on. The eyes have it in every way because you're looking at cells through cells. And you can see what's going on with the stomach, and that's why I have to know more about the case, what's going on, what the symptoms are on this to tell you whether stomach or gallbladder. With this little bit of question here, I don't know. It's enough to say, though, you immediately want to put him on a real mild diet of probably applesauce with cinnamon in it. All raw, no questions, all raw. You don't want him in a hospital cafeteria or a dietitian serving him a lunch or supper. You want to supply the food. You want to make it all raw. I would do the subacid category. Maybe a little bowl of fruit of mangoes, maybe some grapes in there and some bananas. nice little bowl of fruit, and have a little, every 3 hours or something, a little bowl of fruit, that sort of thing. What you want him to do is chew on these fruits real slow. Digestion in your mouth, we just did a video on that, and how that you can get into these levels of gastroparesis, paralysis of the stomach, or just this whole hepatic gastric problems, that stomach, gastric, hepatic, liver, get that trouble in there. You got to work it out, and that's all going to be acidosis, inflammation, so you have to work it out. Remember, there's only two sides of chemistry. We're eating, building the acid side of chemistry. So man has to change to his diet that his body's designed to eat. Now he's eating on the base side of chemistry. We already see what happens eating on the acid side of chemistry. We need to look further than the human race. Just take a look at just taking all these questions and the suffering these poor souls are going through. So we need to turn things around a little bit. So I don't know. We have a stomach tea that he can sip full of marshmallow, or find you some marshmallow root and start sipping it, or slippery elm bark, anything like that. Mullein, anything anti-inflammatory and acid soothing. Like I say, get a red delicious apples, organic. Make applesauce out of that. Throw the seeds out of there. Get the core out of it. Get that cyanide out of there. Get that apple, and throw a little cinnamon in there. A little light cinnamon. All right. Work with that. Small bites. Swallow. Rest. Small bites. Swallow. Rest. Go slow with this. This digestive side doesn't want to be disturbed. Don't bother me. It's echoing out his mouth. Leave me alone down here. You're putting in the wrong food. I'm inflamed. I can't handle any more. So when you back down, you soothe it off, you quiet it down, everything heals, you're in good shape. I also would go to my house, get some aloe leaves, cut those big aloe leaves open, take that mucousy stuff, use a shot glass, to about 2 ounces about every 3 hours or 4 hours. Helpful. So that's what I would be doing, and finding out. I would need to know more about the case and then look at the eyes to see if it is gallbladder or whatever. But if it is gallbladder, go on the liver gallbladder formula, go on a raw food diet, get the bowels cleaned out, get the kidneys and everybody going, and in about 2 months do a liver gallbladder flush. Not the salt water one. I would do that anyway. Fix the stomach, quiet everything down, give it a couple months on raw, take a look at the eye, see how everything is, and then do a liver gallbladder flush, pop the stones out irregardless. And get all that inflammation out as well. And then you'll be in good shape. If not, they're going to take this tissue and take this tissue, because they don't have iridology even though they discovered it. Well, a surgeon discovered it. Hi. When there is no pump of any physical when there is no bump of any physical cause, what can cause nosebleeds? We're currently on the fruitarian lifestyle, been raw vegans for 3 years. My kids watch you as well as I. Thanks, Lesley. I love you, honey. Okay, so I take this as maybe in the kids. All I have to say is that real thin capillary walls. I've seen this even in my grandkids before, and it's like, no. I've seen this in other people too. You want to check that parathyroid gland. I'm back to that parathyroid gland. I'm adamant about making sure connective tissue is holding good. If not, this like a petechia where these little capillaries are breaking. I don't like that at all, because that's up in the head area to begin with, and you don't know how the shape of these vascular walls are up in the head area. Very scary, because you can have aneurysms in the brain all over the place, and nosebleeds like that, spontaneous nosebleeds out of nowhere, is a good example of high acidosis and that sort of thing, and a very weak connective tissue. Even though you're all raw, you might have a sinus or stuff up in here that needs to be cleaned out. With that said, I would detoxify my children a little more aggressively, get the sinuses cleaned out on the fruits and stuff, and I would think about that parathyroid. I really would. Even on a child with nosebleeds, I would put them on a glandular parathyroid and just a little bit of say a superfood blend for high calcium. Let's see if you can't get that to stop and strengthen up. Because that's what I'd be doing, is strengthening up the connective tissue in these capillaries. Because you can, and you always see the bleeding when you're acidic. Notice that? The more acidic and inflamed an area is, the more it tends to bleed. Why? Brings in blood is alkaline. Blood is bringing in, the body's bringing in the alkaline to back up the acid. You see this in ionization, you see this in chemistry. That's the walk of chemistry. From one side to the other, there's only two sides of it. And it's like a waddling down the road. You waddle on this side, you waddle on that side. But the true food, ripe food that's designed for the human is perfectly pH balanced to be base dominant over the acid side of chemistry. When we start messing or getting outside of fruits, berries, and melons, and even vegetables, now we're in predominantly acid-forming foods. Basically. I mean, you can pick quinoa and millet and stuff like that and say, well, still though, high starch. So the more of any, even good sugars, the more of anything good still breaks down to acids. Everything breaks down to acids. See? So when we do complex chemistry, that breaks down to even more acids. So the less complex, the better. So carbohydrates instead of starch. Good question, guys. Good questions. But I don't like the nosebleeds. Stuff like that. Yep. Seen it though. Seen it before. Think about the parathyroid gland. And since you're looking at your children, if you can get a picture of the eyes, you might want to check the pituitary gland just to be sure, because this is going to cause growing pains in your children, height problems, either too much or too low. If it's a female, she's going to have all kinds of menstruation issues. It can cause all kinds of adrenal and thyroid issues as well. So it's a big deal to take a look at these and, kind of fix them up. We have the tools to fix, nice tools, herbs, foods. If we need glandulars, we have glandulars. So we got a good repertoire of tools. You just want to know the specific tissues you can use to go after, even though you're systemically going to go after someone with the kidneys and the bowels and the adrenals. But the parathyroid is a specific look. You don't just give everybody that one. Some people might not need it. But they do need the rest of them. When you're going after detoxification, regenerative detoxification. This is from Dan. Dr. Morse, thank you for all your videos. You're welcome, Dan. I love talking to you guys. I've sat behind this chair talking to individuals for 40 years, 40 some years, off and on, basically. But it's a pleasure to reach so many people. Reaching one-to-one is great, but you guys can do the one-to-one now. I rather reach the many, because we can come together under one powerful organization or foundation and be a force to be reckoned with. And we have truth and science on our side. And we have a bunch of spiritual beings on our side. And these guys are something else. Believe me when I say it, I'm not just pulling your leg. I just finished my first 80-hour dry fast and broke it with a lovely mixture of watermelon juice and lemon. 80 hours? Holy crap, man. I don't know. All this long-term dry fasting, you guys are freaking me out a little bit here, but you did 80 hours. Holy moly. Oh my God. About 30 minutes later, I went to the bathroom and passed what looked like 8 inches of mucoid plaque. Love it. Isn't that cool stuff? I tell you, I got into this, so I didn't have some of the tools you guys have now, but I had my fruits. You just didn't have tools back then like this. No one was thinking about herbs, supplements and crap like that. But when something came out of me like that, I'm going, oh, that gave me power to keep digging deeper. Because what else is in there? How did that get in there? You know, and we start to realize that we've been burning dirty fuel and building up this residue on the bowel wall called mucoid or amyloid plaque, either way. In people's brains, amyloid plaque. We're building this stuff up from burning wrong fuels. We're chasing rainbows of diseases? Get out of here. This is way dead. We need the truth. Wow. Good job. I'm really not sure if that's what it is or it remains my last meal 4 days ago. No, that'd be mucoid plaque probably. But all I know is that it was hard, twisted, and nuts. Mucoid plaque. Oh my God. And really oily. Interesting. Oily, huh? Whoa. You might have just popped something out of your liver or gallbladder. You could have. You could have just popped something out of your liver or gallbladder, not on the bowel wall. That's interesting. Because it seems like this dry fasting is allowing for some aggressive purging out of the body. That's pretty cool stuff. I'm not into long dry fast. I don't know how to temper that or say anything about that. But it's enough to say you're getting some gnarly stuff out, and that can't have been happy. Your tissues where that came out of is probably singing your praises right now, going, thank you, Master, thank you. Good job. Could you please shed some light on what's going on? I'm amazed, but I still haven't got my kidneys to filter. Keep working, Dan the man. Keep working, because I don't know of anything more than that. Take 2 kidney formulas, 1 capsule and 1 tincture. If that doesn't do it, add maybe a kidney glandular for 1 bottle 2-3 times a day. Anything to keep hitting and inspiring the kidney function, but also the hydration. See, we're hydrating the kidney tissues just like we're hydrating everything else as well. So it might take just a little longer. Who knows? But well, you got something gnarly out. Whoa. Who knows? To have oil on it, that would have to be something hepatic or something. That liver, gallbladder. I don't know. Some of this stuff you guys are getting out, gnarly, and who knows where from, you know, parts unknown in the body. And that's what I'm saying here for you ladies. You know, I designed this Heal-All tea for douching. Take 2 weeks, douche 1 time a night. You know, get a bathtub, get your tea, skin temperature, and insert, and and work on that vaginal wall. Because I'm telling you, some of the ladies are getting out some very interesting things, and you guys go through hell, all these monthly cycles and stuff, and you never know. So, you know, do some cleaning there. You just never know what can come out of somebody. And it's just that it's wild to see some of the pictures here. We want to, someday maybe we'll have a collage of pictures, but it's like, oh. But I mean, the stuff that people are getting, it's staggeringly cool. But it just shows you that it's residues from the chemistry we've been burning. And you can see how it looks. And as these residues build up, you see how it looks. So, good job. Good job. Great job. I like this name. Okay, so we're about to speak to infinite intelligence. Will you please speak a little about how genetics affect the status of the body and how we have control of them? Can you improve them, or are you just stuck with the status of your genetics? That's a good question for the infinite intelligence to talk about. All right, well, think about this. I don't, gosh darn it. Give me 2 seconds. I thought I had one here that I wanted to show you because I was so proud of getting it done for you. I wanted to... Okay, so what I'm going to do here... I think I'll take a quick break, and I'll be right back, and we'll finish this conversation. All right, so I drew this up to show you what the God Worlds are about. You come from up here. This is pure consciousness. All these worlds, these are different levels of the now. These are different levels of pure consciousness. So let's say you came out of this Godhead in your awareness, your consciousness. You did not take on a body until you left this yellow plane here and came down into the blue. When you came down in here, this is creation. This is not creation. This is infinite intelligence. There's no form, it's formless. There's no body. There's nothing here to define you except just your awareness, pure consciousness. And very difficult to describe this because there's nothing to describe. You're a part of everything. You feel everything. It's can't even describe that. When you come down in this world, you can't take your consciousness here and just be down here. You have to. This is stepping down in energy, big time stepping down in energy. This is taking the infinite and making it the finite. This is taking the formless and making form so it can experience itself. This is all the worlds of creation. Down at the bottom is the physical world where your physical body is. The next level is your emotional body. When you use feelings and desires, you're using your astral or emotional body. There's a whole world and you have a body there right now. It's right around. All these worlds are wrapped right around you right now. You can't see them because of the ethericness. You can, if you develop your spirituality, you can see them. But you can move your attention out of this physical body, pull it back into your astral body. Or you can pull it back into the causal. The causal is the orange plane here. And that is the plane of duality. When you get to the blue, that's the universal mind. This is where the pure mind was created. This is where Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, cosmic consciousness, universal consciousness, all the things they talk about comes right here. Your individual mind is in the causal world. It comes right out of that, and that starts you off. That starts form, past, and future. That starts duality that you can define. Right? Everything that has awareness comes out of here and takes on form. That form can be plant, animal, cell, human, everything. Nothing can be here physically without first having these other bodies with it. You can't just take your attention from the infinite consciousness of where you come from and put it down in the physical body without all these other bodies to step you down. No way. Remember in electronics you have, what do they call them, resistors and what are the other things they call it, the step down energy? It's been a while since I've got into electronics, gosh. Capacitors, resistors, all kinds of things. But it's like a transformer, where you take this high-powered current and you step it down to, what, 220 for the house or whatever, or 440 or whatever they bring into you. But it's enough to say that it has to be stepped down so you can be here. You know, that's what I'm saying. You guys are so much more powerful and so huge of beings. It's just amazing, and I'm honored to work with each and every one of you. Some of you forgot that. So now you can get that back because you're coming home again. You're coming home to pure consciousness. There's nothing outside of that. And you only find that in the present moment, outside of duality. Duality is here today and gone tomorrow. Your new car is here today, crashed tomorrow. Your house is here today and a tornado took it out tomorrow. That's creation. You can't hold on to anything in creation, even lovers or families, because it'll rip right away from you. You come in here alone. You pick up friends and things to buffer that aloneness. That's because life is totally alone, especially in these higher levels, extreme alone areas. So down in here, we get buddies and all kinds of things. But your cells make the same trip, believe it or not. Each cell in your body has a mind and has memory and has actually emotions. Plants have the same thing. We've talked about plants many times. Remember that the professor that can put her plants in airports because they're more accurate at determining chemicals than dogs? That her plants were 100% accurate at determining chemicals. She trained her plants to turn a certain color depending upon the chemicals they detected, and that they were 100% accurate where bomb-sniffing dogs was only 70. I mean, when you wake up to life is alive everywhere, life's everywhere, even the little cells in your body. Even the atom itself has a state of consciousness to it. So everything comes out of pure consciousness. Nothing can be dead because everything comes out of life. It just appears inert because it's so molecularly confined, I'll say. So it's just enough to say that every cell in your body is that way too. And if you want to change it, and genetics, when you look at the parent cell and you go down through this genetic line, it's just replicating the mind, the memory patterns from the causal world. And that registers all the other bodies too. Your astral body, your physical body. If there's damage, that's recorded. Anything is recorded from health to ill health. Everything is recorded. It's all recorded in consciousness. So, when you have cells that are going through the genetic whirlwind, each cell's mind is conditioned by the cell before it. That's why you see the mutation and the takeoff on mutation that you do. One builds, if you haven't observed this, creation builds on itself. Builds on itself. And so, same with cells. And so, this genetic memory patterns that they have, that's what you're seeing. The real bite to that is the fluids and the chemistry they're supposed to be made for. And the big fluid that's the pain is the lymph fluids. That is the fluid that ravishes and builds some pretty interesting memories in cells. Remember, you have phantom pain, you have phantom memories, you have all kinds of things in the cell. To not understand that is a mistake for the medical community. Because what is genetic is the cell itself. And it's just like a little person. It has a whole world within itself. But nothing is unaware. Nothing has no consciousness to it whatsoever. You can't. Because everything is within the body of God. Understanding omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. All-powerful, all-knowing, in all places simultaneously. Everywhere. Those things tell you that the Creator is an infinite being with no limitation whatsoever. But when you're at that level, there's no definition to you. And when there's no definition to you, play with that. Get into contemplation. Surrender, let go of thought and desire, and see how unlimited you can get. See how much you can surrender. How much can you let go? Can you let go of everything? Can you let go of yourself? And when you do, what happens? That's when you start to have some fun. That's when you start to learn that you're a free bird, that you can travel anywhere you want by simply moving your attention. Or you can just simply live in the now and forget about traveling. That's the way I work. I don't try or think about traveling anymore at all. I'm intently involved in the now, and I want to keep that way. But when you're looking at genetics and cells, how you rebuild that, because remember, these are just states of consciousness. This is just energy flows. You know, when you leave this world, you're out of chemistry. Basically, you're out of chemistry that I know of. You're now in magnetics. You're now in you're now in electricity. You're now in energy. And it's hard for the earthly brain and the conditioned mind to understand energy and the intelligence that has. We give a name of spirit to it. We give a name of Vishnu to it. We give a name of all kinds of things. The Trinity. This causal world, this causal world is where all the trinities come from. Brahm, Vishnu, Shiva, the trinity of Hinduism and Buddhism or whatever, at least Hinduism, the trinity. Brahm the male, Shiva the female, and Vishnu the young man. Well, unfortunately, they call it the sun. Really isn't. That is the force of disconcern. That's the force of neither gender. And the same thing with the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The Trinity. The Trinity really is, though, the Father, the male, the female, and the neutral. That's really what the three forces are. We give names to them. Man loves to name things. The mind loves to name things. So when you're talking about genetics, so what we're doing is we're energizing, we're bringing that cell's consciousness up into its higher levels of functionability. And you can see that in anyone, you can see that in a classroom. When you have some poor child there laboring over things, and you start helping them to understand more of it, you start seeing an upliftment of the being. Because they thought they couldn't understand it. They thought it was beyond them. Now that they're understanding, you've brought them up another level. It's awakening to their true potential. We tend to look at it as damage in chemistry. Now, really, these are states of consciousness, really hard to define and talk about over YouTube. So some of you guys might not like, so forgive me, but the question was asked. So when you get into genetics, that's why you see genetic remembering at these levels, because you are introducing each of your cells to the highest level of consciousness. And this is where the blueprint is. The causal world is where the blueprints is. That's where what they call the Akashic records. You want to see if you lived before? Get yourself to that level. You'll be shown. You'll be shown. So it's a fantastic and incredible worlds that exist out there. Remember, Jesus said, my Father's mansion has many rooms. Many levels. But Hinduism, Buddhism, they already have taught that for generations. Same thousands of years. Any God man has come down out of these levels, have taught them, because you have to come out of those levels to get here. This isn't the level you go through. This is one of the last levels you experience. So interesting. Anyway, it's a lot of good information out there. We teach a lot of this at the class, though, so I don't want to talk about too much. I saw this too. Somebody's got a game out here. I've seen this before. I haven't played it yet. Learning Herbs, Wildcraft. Learning Herbs. Is that cool or what? This is what we need to have being made out here. Healthy games, learn herb games. Just love stuff like this. You guys see we got a little one of these too. I love this. This is from New Zealand. Look how he put the body parts in there. I love this. We had bigger ones, but he finally came out with this little one. Well, here we go. It's better that way. Yeah. But using the eye, you can just see every body part there is. Good stuff. So, infinite intelligence. That's how you actually regenerate tissue, by introducing it to who it really is. Well, how do you do that? You take away the draw and the pull of chemistry. You know, and this is when you look at how God created chemistry here to be just perfectly base dominant. It keeps that acid side in tame. It keeps that energy consciousness right. But when you augment the chemistry, it augments the consciousness. When you pull them more to the acidic side, you're warping the consciousness now. Now you're lowering the state of consciousness of the cell into lower levels. Well, your functionability, look at it this way. On days that you're so tired and you wake up really tired and fatigued, you don't feel like getting up, go run me a 5K. What? Just give them a walk around the block? No, I just want to sit here and rest. And you can't think. Without energy, you can't think. You don't feel like doing anything. But when you have energy, it's like, oh man, let's go. I'm ready to go. What do you want to get into? What do you want to go do? Energy is everything, but it is also intelligent. You have to get with that and understand that everything on this planet is intelligent. It's amazing. Yes, love your plants because they'll love you back. And to play with that, you know, in the woods, I had nothing to do but read, rest, and talk to plants. It was fun doing it. So, I hope that helped infinite intelligence. But that is how we have to work with that. understanding energy, understanding what about a food. You know, that's the whole thing, is when you look at this whole thing holistically. That's why we're holistic. Holistic is not supplements. Holistic is totality. When you start looking at how creation is put together in its as much as we can, in its thanks to all the spiritual beings that brought all this stuff out, especially the Eckmasters. Sorry, but I haven't found any higher than those guys yet. Those guys are, brought out all this stuff way out there, and a lot of this you can find in Sanskrit. A lot of this, some of these higher levels, but very few. These guys are bringing out some levels that never was explored before, and yet we all come from them. How interesting. Sometime we'll have more of a spiritual talk on that subject matter, why it keeps itself out just a little. But that's how I look at that. And of course, the genetic status of the human body. Let's say that you wake up and your islets of Langerhans woke up and said, I don't feel too good today. I guess I was told I was weak. What is my job? Someone said insulin, but I can't remember. Then you're going to be a type 1. See what I'm saying? This is all about the cell and the health of the cell. But where does that start off at? How did this all start to go down the other way in terms of pulling that consciousness out or down out of a cell? And that's going to be diet. That's going to be lifestyle. That's going to be chemistry. So it's just how you look at chemistry and how you look at all that. It's a big, big thing. All right, Julia. Hello, Dr. Morse. Hi, sweetheart. Love you, honey. First, I want to mention how much I admire you and appreciate everything you do. Well, back at you. Back at you. If I didn't have your guys and your beauty and your love, we wouldn't be anything either. So I love each and every one of you. My whole desire is, let's all get connected. Let's all get well. Let's get everybody out of pain as much as the people will allow themselves out of the chairs. Getting out of these chairs. Got to get out of chairs. And let's all enjoy and have fun together. This place is supposed to have fun, right? My question is, how can I help speech delayed and developmentally delayed children? And are there any herbal formulas for it available? Absolutely. Oh, heck yes. You're this is a good question. Good lady, good question. Oh, absolutely. Upper circ, brain and nerve. Upper circ, brain and nerve, and I could repeat that 1,000 times. Upper circ and brain and nerve. You want to really work on these young people's neurons in the head and the movement of blood through that. The same time, remember this, guys. The younger you are, the more you're struggling with your lymphatic system. I could go back to these numbers. Get this. I can go back to these numbers I read to you earlier about the deaths, the amount of deaths. And what did I do with that already? But anyway, the amount of deaths taking place. When you get up above 85, cancer isn't the number one death. Heart is. And when you look at some of these in the older ages, heart's the problem they die, not cancer. What's heart problems? Where the original heart problems start from? Kidneys. Kidneys. But it shows you that in the 80 and above people have a much stronger genetic makeup than the younger ones. And that the younger ones are dying with cancer is just damaged cells, guys. And if you get tumors out of that, then that's just pockets of acid sludge that the body's holding. Most people don't die of cancer, they die from the treatment of cancer, using their verbiage. But when you wake up to a stagnant lymph system, all you got to do is open up the doors and get it cleaned up. If it's just a little bump or whatever, and you're done. So we have to teach this world, when you recognize some humps and lumps, get them out. Just get them out and you're done. Nobody have to worry about it. But you see how we have to work on some of these cases and the cases and what they have to go through. It's a job. It's a big deal, and it's sad when these people could have had this done a lot earlier. Not meant to be. Wasn't in the karma. They were meant to go through this. You have to look at all that. But with that said, we can change the future of the karma. You're doing it now when you stop desiring. You're doing it now in your world by stop thinking so much. You're changing your dynamics for a brighter, bigger future. The more you think, the more you desire, your future is narrowing or stays in a narrow focus. You're now eliminating your focus, and now you're getting bigger and more awake. Your futures are much, much different. Much different, trust me. So, upper circuit, brain, and nerve, you want to get them on fruits, berries, and melons. And I'm telling you, seriously, with the kids, fruits, berries, and melons, no vegetables. Of all the neurological success you've seen us go through, it's been fruits, berries, and melons. It's always been the staple of the dietary regimen on quads, paras, MS, Lou Gehrig's, Parkinson's, fruits, berries, and melons, period. If you want to sneak in some green drinks, that's a cheat. Because that's the level that you get this high energy, high level of consciousness coming in, helping you. And when you do that, everything rebuilds and regenerates. But it's meant to. We're not meant just to go down one road. You got two roads to go down. Remember Luke, trust the force, Luke. Which one, Master? Which one? In creation, you have two. Defined more as three, but generally we look at that as two, male, female, duality. We don't generally enter that third force, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, or that sort of thing, or Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, that sort of thing. So that's how it definitely, and you would want to look at their endocrine glands. That's another thing with the children, the endocrine glands. You want to work on those. If they have the pituitary, the parathyroid, you want to make sure these young people don't have any of these problems. That also, calcium can be involved in neurotransmission, involved in these sort of delays. So you want to make sure the parathyroid is up there, utilizing calcium. Adrenals, always adrenals in children. Always, 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 because there are always problems. Kidneys and adrenals for every child born today. Absolutely. Should be in the milks in the first off. So these are the levels that we have to work at. But absolutely, and in all children with these delayed things, you want to detox them in case they got neurotoxicity from vaccines or whatever the mother has, but also an inspiring nerve and brain waking up. Absolutely, big time. Glad, Julia, you're working with that. Absolutely, proud of you. Oh, we only have a couple more. Jade. I love that name, Jade. Jade. I'm 23 years old and have been having hormonal issues since getting off a bit that control 4 years ago. Getting off of BIT, birth control, right? Birth control 4 years ago. I was estrogen dominant and started taking progesterone cream for my symptoms that included acne on the jawline, clots with my menstrual, and frequent yeast infections. All right. You know, I used to when Lee's book came out, of course, we'd already known estrogen was acidic. But it seems like the medical community didn't get that message. And so for years, they were giving estrogen replacement programs and birth control and things with estrogen-dominant women. And I'm going, what? Are they friggin' nuts? Until Dr. Lee came out. Now, a lot of medical doctors boo-hooed him, but some of those guys are so narcissistic they boo-hoo their own mother. But this guy, medical doctor, came out and he took a look at that because he gave all his female patients, estrogen replacements and birth controls and stuff, and they were having all these problems, excessive bleedings and things. So he started looking into the chemistry of it. And of course, then he came out with progesterone cream. The problem with that is it's the same teeter-totter. If you use progesterone cream, your adrenals will quit making it. And that's a big no-no. And maybe even your ovaries. So that's a big no-no. You want to get into balancing or make your endos healthy. So the first place to start is look upstairs, Mr. Pituitary. That's where a lot of the female complaints start, is the pituitary and FSH. All right, and all the control of the ovarian, estrogen, and progesterone. However, the ovarian estrogen and testosterone, estrogen and progesterone is for the uterus. I've said this before in past videos that we're talking about an estrogen. These are systemic estrogen and progesterone is more the adrenal glands. So you want to take a look at that and make the adrenals healthy. And at your age, you're going to have adrenals. Honey, you're going to have adrenals down. So you want to make the adrenals healthy. You want thyroid, hot flashes, and the parathyroid, because you'll have hot flashes, painful menses with the thyroid weakness and the parathyroid down. You want to make sure the pituitary, or you're going to have excessive bleeding, or your menses are going to be all over the place, or once every 6 months. So those are the things. The endocrine glands are your babies. You make them healthy. Everything goes into a state of health when you start going after the health. You start moving the lymph. You start feeding the appropriate foods for the body. Everything's in balance. Everything goes back into balance. Even genetic memories disappear for the blueprint to come through. I'm telling you, it's all an energetic situation here. Each one of these God worlds are more energetic than the last one. This is one of the lowest worlds of God. When you get into some of these higher worlds, it blows you away. It's staggering, and yet you come from these higher places. Interesting. So absolutely, I would be real careful with using any of that progesterone cream, although I have used it in the past. And I won't say that I'm against it if you're a heavily bleeder, but I would get the bleeding formula. I have a bleeding formula for internal bleeding. If you're a heavy bleeding woman, you want to get that and take that to cut down that bleeding. You don't want to get anemic and all this sort of thing. At the same time, you're going to start detoxing. Go in, clean the kidneys, get the adrenals going, get the lymph moving out of the uterus, the ovaries, get the lymph circulating, up in the pituitary and the thyroid, get all the acids out and the inflammation that's suppressing, get all the mucus out that's locking these things down. Free everybody up, and you'll have everybody going right into balance and into harmony with your consciousness. It happens every time. So you got to work on your endos, but to work on the endos, remember the system that's always at the cause of everything. Even in a genetic past, how did this start? Who started weakening the parent cell? Lifestyle and diet, chemistry of ingestion, that started the weakening of the body. The mucus is the consumption of milks and things that are not even harmonious with our species. Now we're full of mucus and everything else. You got to clean all that out. You got to get the mucus out of your sinuses sometimes to get your pituitary working. You got to get the mucus and nodules out of your thyroid, parathyroid, out of your throat, bronchi. See what I'm saying? We just got to clean ourselves out of all the residues that's built up in there with the mucus and the plaques and the proteins and all these acids. Get all that out so everybody can stand up and go breathe again. And then cells can find their balance. And by eating balance and using herbs that bring balance, you get into balance. And it's a beautiful thing. And you want to do that instead of suffer. Women do not have to suffer. They've made this like women should suffer or something. It's like, and you want your periods nice and clean. You want very little periods, maybe a little spotting to show that that's happening. It's like the lady that can cut herself now and she doesn't bleed. That's perfect. That's the level I've been trying to get you guys at, to where you can cut yourself and you don't bleed. Explain that one. But get yourself straightened around here, Jade. Absolutely. Most symptoms have gone away. Now I'm having random sharp pains in my breast, along with itchy and flaky nipples. I'm not sure if this is related, but it's sometimes serious. It's starting to go on it. Would like it to heal as naturally as I can. Okay, so here's the thing. Go back to what you said before, having yeast infections. And here's another, Jade, I'd douche for a couple of weeks. Clean that vaginal wall really good. At the same time, get your kidneys filtering, get the adrenals up, because you want to move lymph. You want to make sure that uterine wall and interstitially is clean. You don't want to have endometriosis. You don't want to start getting fibroids. This sharp pain is telling you you're starting to get either a fibroid, starting to get acidic up in here. So you want to get those kidneys filtering, get all these breasts cleaned up, the crustation on the nipple and all that, highly suggestive of fungus in the body. And you already said you had yeast infections. That's fungus. So you probably have a lot of fungus in the body. Make sure you don't have any sulfur in that gut. Look at your eyes. Get that all cleaned out. But I'd be on Parasite M for several months, because if you're nursing or something, you don't want to nurse like that. But anyway, get that all cleaned up. And of course, everything heads for holes. When your kidneys are not filtering, your skin is not sweating, then any hole will do, including the nipple. So you can see stuff come out of the nipple, but this is lymph. When you ladies know that you got breast tumors, you see how they're heading for the nipple? The body's trying to find an opening to get this stuff out. This is a natural thing. I'm telling you a story, and I never did finish it one time, where I fell off a telephone pole years ago working for the phone company, trying to get past this electrical thing. I was way up there, and I went right off. Well, they tell you don't grab a pole. And I had trained a pole climber once, and he fell. And he did the very thing you shouldn't, is grab the pole. And I watched him, and we halfway laughed at it in his pain. But I tried to hold myself onto the pole. Well, I just put this hand just full of creosote splinters. So I went to a surgeon. He cut me open. He cleaned out what he could. And for years later, I kept getting these little creosote splinters out of my fingernails. My body was getting rid of them. And when you see little things like that, it goes, look at that. That's God. That's God. Yep. And that's the way we want to be. We want to demonstrate to the world how simple it is, trusting in the one who created all this, and the designs they use, and the foods they use for the designs. We need to get with that. And when we're in harmony with all of that, we're healthy, we're happy, and we're awake and alive. That's good stuff. So go for that, guys. Go for that. That's what I'd be doing, sweetheart. Detox that lymph system of yours, because when any of you ladies start feeling pains and stuff, you don't want to get fibrocystic breast. And if you have fibrocystic breast, you get rid of it. That's the lymph system. That's just a precursor for tumors. So you want to get rid of all of this stuff out of the body. And how do you do that? Regenerative detoxification. And it's been laid out to you in all these videos. And we have one more. And I've got caught up, except for this stack over here, which a lot of these are real old. So Chris and Drew is in New York. They'll be back tomorrow. They are moving up there. Bartek. Hi, Bartek. Male 26. Thanks to your book, I went about 80% vegan. After 1 month, the heartburn and allergies went away. During this 6 months, when I ate meat, flour, my kidney hurt a bit for 1 to 2 days. Allergies came back, and the brain fog got worse. You see, and this is the thing, Bartek, you've just proved that on yourself. And this is what I was saying to everybody here. Proof's in the pudding. Bartek was willing to jump over and go 80% vegan and try it. He did, felt good, got himself cleaned up a little bit. Of course, we all tend to walk back a little bit. That's natural. Nobody's going to hit you for that. You pull back a little bit. You got to see that you didn't clean yourself out completely like that, or you could have cheated a little bit and not having a problem. But you went back, and then they started returning again. And it just stared in your face, showing you, oh, couldn't be the food I'm eating, because it seems like when I change it, I get better. When I go back, I get the same symptoms. Yeah, we're all waking up to that now, aren't we? But you did a good job, though. My question, which vegetables would be best for me to gain weight? You know what? I'd probably go more the veggie fruit type stuff, like the cucumbers and stuff like that. But if you want to muscle up, I'm an alfalfa freak when it comes to that. I'm not talking about regenerative detox. I'm talking about, and in the further stages of regenerative detoxification, absolutely. But alfalfa juice, oh yeah. And if you raise your own alfalfa sprouts, get them really green first. Really dark green. Well, lock the lid down on it for a day or two in the sun. Get that chlorophyll busting, and then make a juice out of it and watch your toes. It made me spit up a huge wad piece of mucus. I got it so green, I was just going to throw them out. And I thought, wow. Okay, So I would think about that. Now, if you're skinny, remember malabsorption, you guys, and this is in my face every day here and in all our faces. It is not, you have to fix malabsorption. It is not a pretty picture, and it has to be fixed, or life is pure hell. But alfalfa tablets or alfalfa juice is great for that. I would go into my avocados and cucumbers and stuff like that. Will my kidneys rebuild? Absolutely. And that's something this guy asked, or I think a male, real important that you rebuild tissue. And listen, all your tissues rebuild, but you want to rebuild kidneys big time. Which protocols do you recommend? Please also give me an estimate of how many should I buy, as I live outside the U.S., so I will buy in bulk. Thank you. Bartek, that's really not what I do. You know what? Why don't you call Valerie? She's my personal assistant, and ask her. You know, because she'll be able to tell you, lay that out for you. But it just depends on your affordability. If you've got the affordability, do the 14-week protocol. You'll enjoy that. Have fun with that. If you want more specific of a protocol, I charge $150, but I do sit down in my house and I look at everything you give me on yourself, and I put together your own protocol for you. Or you can make an appointment with a counselor. They're what, $100 an hour or something, or they're not that much, and they got a lot of information to help you with. So there's always that road. So there's a lot of help here, you know. And then there's the livefig.com or whatever it is, rawfig.com. You got the Artie people. There's other sites, Facebook sites and stuff I think we have listed for you. There's all kinds of people out there dying to help. We could use some of them here. But you want to buy, if you're outside the U.S., I would probably buy a 3-month kick. I like 3 months. I like a 3-month go at it. Go 3 months or 14 weeks, sit back and take a look. Where did you go? What did you get done? What did you get accomplished? Get a picture of your eyes. Any changes? Kind of short in 3 months to see massive changes, to be honest with you. But you could see small changes. But look at your eyes and use that as a gauge. We'll have more education here. We have an iridology class coming. Matter of fact, this year it's 4 days. 3 days more at iridology. I'm throwing in a day. Actually, we're going to take the whole 5 days. Okay, so we have the first 4 is going to be the class. The first day is going to catch up on protocols. You guys need more protocols. So we're going to give a lot more protocols, and then you're going to help me, show me how you write protocols by looking at someone's eyes. So you're going to learn how to read the eyes and write protocols from that. The 5th day is going to be the fun day. Artie's going to have some workshops. We're going to have maybe a crystal healing workshop. We're going to have maybe some Tibetan bells. We're going to have all kinds of things that 5th day, just for the fun of it. I love stuff like that. So it's not part of the class, not supposed to be part of the class. It's just going to 5th day for those that want to stay and have some fun. That sound like fun? I love workshops and stuff like that. You know, fun things to do and camaraderie with like-minded people. It's hard to find like-minded people around here. So it's always good to when you guys come in and give me a big hug and everything. I really appreciate that. It's really good stuff. Well, we've covered quite a bit. You guys have some very good questions. And so, yeah, here it is. Yeah. When you get up, there at 85 and above, heart disease is about the #1 thing to get you. That's kidneys. Interesting when you go look through these numbers and things. But I love you guys, and thanks for putting up with this guy. And I'm real proud of you guys and all the great work you've done on yourself. And you guys have done yourselves good. This one testimonial from this one lady is just a beautiful thing to see. And when you guys can get yourself out of chairs and everything, it's just a blessing to see all that. But you're also introducing this whole world to a whole nother level of understanding, needed so desperately at this level. Do you not agree? Yeah. So I love you guys. Till the next video. I'm trying to get a bunch of them up for you, but do love you guys and take care of yourselves. Any help, don't forget, we're here for you, and we're all working together for each other. So let's love each other and show the world how a good big group of people can be mature and can fix the world and be very spiritual doing it. Love you guys.